anything that was thrown at me, I would be doing. Put me on the Super League. If you're putting me on a bike time trial race, I'll be there. Like, at the moment, anything I can get.
There she is.
Hey, you done it?
How are you?
Hey.
Oh, bear with me, because I've just been doing the whole practice run with the guys in the London office, because I'm very new to this Instagram live, and they said you can do it. So I'm not a very good technically savvy guy when it comes to this stuff, but yeah, perfect. It worked. So everything.
We got that. Good.
How is everything in London? Are you in London?
Yeah, I'm in London at the moment. We're having a bit of a heat wave, so all of this week will be like 30 degrees. So yeah, really nice to have warm weather and mix up our training and our adventure outdoors, because we do a lot of our training on Zwift and indoors in our pain cave. But yeah, we'll probably go out. The weather's meant to be nice. Get nice weather here. So, yeah.
You're allowed out at the moment, obviously, so the lockdown is starting to ease up, and you can get out on the road and run outdoors. And because we're following it from here in Australia, it looked pretty intense up in Europe, but it's relaxing a bit now.
Yeah, we're allowed out in groups of 6 at the moment. So I ride with a few of our friends over the weekend. I think there was about bucks, so it's good to get back outside and actually train somewhat in a group, and get back to what feels a little normal.
Oh, cool. We're talking about Zwift, because the first time Will and I got to see, and I know Annie was calling it, but was I don't use Zwift at all, but I've been watching a lot of it lately since the COVID has happened, and everybody's been doing all these races. But you use Zwift and indoor racing a lot, and in this, since the crisis or since the virus has come about, are you using it more than you did in the past? And if so, how do you use it? And are you racing more, using it as a racing tool more than you did in years past, or is it just part of your training regime?
Yeah, I've probably used Zwift since about 2016, always as part of my training. I hadn't done a lot of racing before. I'd done, like, we do a championship race. I'd done those over the last, done pretty well, but never really raced a lot. It was part of my training for both bike and running as well. So since lockdown happened, I'd set myself a target to try and get to the top level on Zwift. It's level 50. So I've been on Zwift today. I still haven't got to level 50. So it's going to take. And I've definitely been racing a lot more than I could.
But you seem to race. You seem to have it down, because in the race the other night, you got to the bottom of that first KOM, applied the pressure, and split the group up. Is this Zwift racing very, very different to the real world racing, or is it knowing what to do, or is it just you are a lot stronger from doing a lot of work indoors at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a mix, really. I've obviously done courses and knowing what's going to come, where to kind of lay down the pressure and where not to put down the pressure, so where you sit back. And actually, I wasn't very good at it. And watching my husband, like, how are you doing it that easily and still in the pack? And he's like, yeah, you're doing it wrong. You're going max the whole time. So I've kind of learned a bit more about the tactics, which are very different to on the road. On the road, obviously, I don't have a pack anyway, so I'm not that kind of pack dynamic of actually getting a bit of a rest at the back. So yeah, it's definitely been a lot of that. So kind of that gaming element, but got the power-ups in different, when you know there's a sprint segment coming, and normally obviously I'm kind of at one pace when I race, but kind of cool to mix it. Okay, I'm going to try and win this segment and hard here. So yeah, a bit different, but really fun.
Ah, sweet. I don't know if you know this, but I remember I was standing in the background, but in 70.3 Worlds in South Africa, when you finished second, my youngest daughter, and she's downstairs, and she wanted me to tell you this. You're born on the same day as you're a Virgo, the 15th of September, same day as my brother. And she went and got your autograph, and she's a butterfly. And you actually, she actually asked you a question, and she said to you, she wants to be a good swimmer like you, and she said, you asked her what she did, and she said she does 200 fly, and you said you used to do butterfly. I think a lot of people in the Ironman world know you come from this amazing swimming background, but I think a lot of people think you're an open water swimmer. I know I did prior to the conversation with my daughter. So you did a lot of pool swimming, and I was reading that you were in the Olympic trials in the 800 in 2012 made the final of the trials. Can you tell us a bit about your pool swimming? What sort of times were you doing? Because my daughter is following this at the moment and is keen to know.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I actually started off when I was about 9 years old. I wanted to do fly as my event. So, I just thought at the time that was the hardest event. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do the biggest challenge. So I was probably the only 9 that wanted to do the 2. It wasn't until I was about 16, my coach at the time was like, you can either special in butterfly or good at the distance freestyle. So and that was kind of where I chose the freestyle, because I thought bigger challenge, we can do 1500, 800, but 1500 was definitely an event in the pool. I think my best time for a short 25 metre pool, 1500, 16:15. So moving some, and I'd be really chuffed to get back to that kind of time now. But at the time, the 1500 wasn't in the Olympics, so I would have had to short down 800, which I was good at, but I made space for 800 in my 1500. So I think 1500 is the Olympics for women now at the time. So I decided to give open water swimming a go. There was a few opportunities to do it, and it kind of meant you got to go on more training camps and go abroad more. So that sounds like a winner. So I ended up doing like the 5K. I enjoyed a lot. It was quite a nice distance. And then I was like, oh, there's a 10K as well. That's a challenge. Let's try that. And I got to do the Olympic test in Hyde Park in London before the London test out the course. And I think I was only like 16 at the time, so it was a really amazing to get to go and race all of the best women in the world. And I managed to hang with the pack for about 2 or 3 laps. It was like 6 laps of 1500 meters, so it was really, really tough. And then I remember probably I wasn't quite up. I'd done okay. And probably about 50 meters to go, and I was like, okay, start sprinting to get to the finish. And I was like, I'm not going to make it if I can sprint. So I had to just ease it back in. But that was probably one of my first ever 10K. And I loved it, even though it was difficult. And yeah, that's what I was going 2012 games, was to try and do either the 10K or the 800. And I narrowly missed out on the 10K. And I guess that's how everything spiraled into finding finding a new challenge and doing the ice.
So basically, because that whole era of English swimming was magnificent. You had Rebecca Adlington, she won in Beijing, she got the dual gold. She was really kicked off that whole, it was sort of all part of that whole push towards London with all that lotto funding. I remember I watched Rebecca, because being from Australia, swimming is so huge, right? And her to win the 400, 800 double in Beijing after, she won the dual. She got bronze in London, and that was the beginning of Katie Ledecky.
Yeah.
That's my daughter's hero, right? She's my daughter's absolute idol. Oh, she's a freak. But I remember that whole era. So you swimming with that whole era the swimming era within the UK in distance swimming was remarkable. And who was the young girl that got third in Rio? She was also a distance swimmer from the UK. I think she got a bronze in the 8. I can't remember watching the. Anyway, my daughter.
Yeah, there's Joanne Jackson as well, who had really good long distance. Not sure if she met Beijing, but yeah.
But did you always have Olympic aspirations since you started swimming?
Yeah, since I was about 9 years old, I remember sitting at the Olympics and being like, "That's what I want to do." And everyone like you can't do the Olympics, and I was like, "Well, I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be the one that gets the closest to doing it." Obviously, Charles was pretty amazing at our home pool in London. Games that was pretty special. And then the way they did for the 10K was like the Olympics to test it all worked. So there was crowds, they had like everything branded for the Olympics. So it was kind of like my mini Olympic. And then I guess it's one of those things always in the back of my mind, like, could I go to the Olympics or something, be back in the pool in the or whether it be in triathlon, kind of still in the back of my mind, how can I do that? Obviously I long distance stuff, and having come second in Kona 3 times. I am not done with Kona yet. I feel like I need to go and win that before I do any Olympic stuff, but definitely still in the back of my mind.
Yeah, because it seems to be, I know a lot of the people from Super League, it's always around the Olympics, and I was interested with your story, becoming from an Olympic sport. Usually there's a bit of a talent transfer from the swimming, from swimmers like yourself, who was greater swimmers as yourself, moving across into the triathlon ranks and being very, very successful. And we've seen it in Super League. The swimmers are so powerful and they're so able to do so much damage. Where really in Ironman, and you've been so successful in Ironman, the swim, you're probably shortchanged, because the swim is, being a fantastic swimmer in Ironman poses two problems. Number one is you don't really have the distance to in comparison to the other two disciplines, to open up with your strength, and it forces you into being a front runner. So I wanted to ask, having watched many of your Ironmans, having watched a lot of the ones you've done, is being a front runner in Ironman racing by choice? Do you enjoy being in that position, or is it just because you set yourself up with a big swim, you just got this, well, let's just go for it attitude?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, really. I was always kind of that swimmer that went out pretty hard and wanted to dominate and lead the race. So I definitely don't mind that. But obviously, I guess I don't really have much choice in the Ironman. I might as well use my swim to some advantage, and it doesn't really take a lot out of me to be going the pace I'm doing. Whether if I drop back and just sat in the pack, I probably wouldn't actually have a huge amount more energy, and I do actually quite enjoy being one out in front and just trying to put the other girls under pressure for as long as I can. Yeah, I guess obviously if my run was my strength, then I obviously wouldn't try and go hard in the swim and see how much advantage I could get. The run, I guess, in training, what I see in training, if I could actually see that in a race, then it would be a completely different run for me. I've been able to execute my training in a race yet. So I guess, luckily I'm still fairly young for the stuff, and I just need to keep chipping away and hopefully execute a slightly more bike and put together the run that I know I can. I think also on the bike, like, I don't really want to I want to stay out in front, but there's so many strong bikes that actually, if they did and I was able to kind of work with them, then it probably would help my a bit. So maybe I shouldn't be concerned about if girls are actually closing and catching me. I should be like, that's fine. Then when they do catch me, we work together. Yeah, normally I'm like, no, I just want to be out front hammering it. So yeah, maybe I might get too next year and I can tactic. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back racing. I think into so yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the two races, the February race next year, if it goes ahead, and the October race, and being this strange year that everybody's had, it's literally a gap year. And is there anything, two things, that you're preparing for a February World Championships, which would be the first time you're preparing during the winter for a World Championships in Kona. Is there anything you guys are looking at from a training perspective that you would change? Will you go to a different training environment? Or you still go to Lanzarote, I think, to prep there, but you still follow that same sort of protocol?
Yeah, I think we'll do fairly similar. I mean, I always go out to Lanzarote, Club La Santa, and train for a good lot before Kona. But then I usually come home, like my last 2 weeks at home, where we do a lot of indoor work, for it like that. So I guess, it's our winter here, I usually indoors for that last. Crank up the heat in our pain cave, actually at Reese's parents' house, so we just put their heating bill through the roof. And, yeah, I think probably wouldn't change it too much. Lanzarote would be warmer than the UK, but we may do a block and then come and back home again. So I think it would be fair. I don't think it would matter too much that it's and I think it's slightly cooler in February as well, which definitely I'm someone that loves that brutal heat. I think it favours me because I enjoy it. So the more brutal, I guess we can all kind of that it may not be quite as hot in February.
Now, all things being equal, let's say February, Lucy Charles wins Kona. It's the 2021 race, even though it's 2020. even though it's a 2020 race in 2021. Will there be an October return, or would you take some downtime? Could we see you in Super League racing? Would there be possibility of pursuing an Olympic ambition, or you'd like to be the first person, or not the first, Scott Tinley did it, but to win two world championships in Ironman in the 1 year? What would be post February if you grab that win?
Another opportunity to win 1 year, so I jump on that. But as I said, at the moment I'm so itching to any race. I think anything that was thrown at me I would be doing. Put me on the Super League, if you're putting me on a bike time trial race, I'll be there. Like, at the moment, anything I can get, I guess, is why I've been loving to have a bit of the Zwift racing, so that there's some kind of racing element, because as much as I love to train, I love to race loads. So I probably race too much at times, but I'm definitely itching to get back.
And would you fill the season with another Ironman in between the two? Would you go to Challenge Roth again, or would you do Ironman South Africa again? Would there be another long course event in the season?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the process that Ironman lay out in terms of qualification, and whether February would work to October, or whether you've got to fit another race in. But I definitely want to go back to Challenge Roth. I love that race. I wanted to go there this year, but also it was set to be a match. Well, the men's field was stacked, the women's field was stacked as well. So yeah, definitely would middle as well.
And is there big rivalries between the women? Like, I know you're all friendly, but is there grittiness between any of you, or does everyone just get on and each other all the best, and at the end of it go back home and say, geez, I wish it was me? Is there anyone? I guess we get on with everyone. You don't need to name names. But is there any tension there with any of you?
Yeah, everyone. No.
I love it.
I think, you know what, there's always rivalry, and everyone wants to win these big races, but actually we do get on it's a pretty friendly rivalry. We all kind of cover on, and definitely from my point of view, Miller out there as that front runner has definitely progressed my career far I might have done, because there's someone laying down this benchmark to chase. So obviously I've got a big rivalry with Daniela. Want to be so yeah, but it's good to have that. I think it does push you on, and definitely motivates me more than that person there.
And when you're looking, I know we're always looking at Daniela, and there's yourself, and there's Annie, and there's Sarah, and there's so many. The list goes on and on. But is there anyone you've seen that maybe isn't doing Ironman right now, and you're looking at the Olympic ranks, and someone that you see could possibly transition across post the Tokyo Olympics and do some damage?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of strong ITU athletes, and you've seen the like Annie Howe come up and do really well from doing distance. So I think it's kind of planning it. Obviously, don't interfere with like your Olympic cycle. Make sure that you've done that and you've kind of almost finished that before you step up. Like Sophie Coldwell looks so strong. I think she's a great long distance athlete, particularly free to begin with her strong bike. But yeah, there's tons of girls that I guess they just haven't really done it. So been that huge amount of girls that have transitioned over, whereas in the side we have. So obviously being a bit biased, but so many strong girls that I know Simpson did a 70 point. Yeah, I think she's very, very strong and just disciplined and motivated her training, and I'm sure that she's very well on the long distance as well.
I remember watching, I've got a couple more questions, and I know you're busy because you're probably going to get answered, but I remember watching Challenge Roth. I'm going to say it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, you finished second to Danielle from Germany, and you blew up on the run. It looked like a nutrition problem because you looked to be dominant all day. So I want to talk a little bit about nutrition. Was it a nutritional issue? And if it is, can you walk me through what you do nutrition-wise? Because I'm really keen to see what people are doing and if there's any differences between athletes.
Yeah, so I'm not sure that went wrong in 2018, but to be honest, the exact same thing went wrong in 2019, but this is not happening. So both years in Roth, my stomach has just blown up. I don't know what has happened. I don't even know if it's the excitement. I don't know what it is, but I guess like nutrition-wise, strategy is very, very simple. I kind of get through the swim, first start doing most of my fueling, but I pretty much just have a time every 15 minutes to make sure that I'm either get a carb drink with electrolytes, caffeine, or some solid. I did a few years ago, I was actually Snickers bars for fuel. A lot of people could have actually gone more to fluid-based nutritional strategy, which I found a lot better when it's hot. Like I don't really want to eat a bite, so I'll just have gels or sweets or something like that to get the sugar in. But to be honest, it's nothing really that out there. It's just carbs, electrolytes, keep me going, and same on the run really, but the run in that little bit more going. And towards the last day, I'll just take it I can get, to be honest, to keep.
Yeah. Have you felt like you've had that race yet? That you've come away from, you've sat back home with Reese and you went, I absolutely nailed that. Everything was perfection. Is that race, have you had that yet, or it's still coming?
I don't think I've ever had that on an Ironman distance, but there's so much time where things can go wrong. But I definitely feel like, I think it may have been at the Challenge Championships last year. I just had that race where everything had gone to plan. The past 2 years at that race, something that hadn't gone quite right. But last year, I completely nailed it. And I couldn't really have done any more on that day.
Oh, wow. Far out. All right, I'll give you one more question. I got asked here. One question is, what is the best and worst part? It's very cheesy. Okay, I'm going to change it. What's the best and worst part of being a pro triathlete? I want to add a little bit to this. When you were a young girl and you were a swimmer and you I guess, looked forward in your life and you saw yourself in the Olympics and being an elite athlete, is the life you're leading now as a pro triathlete similar to the vision you had in your head as a young girl at school dreaming of being a professional swimmer or an elite swimmer? Or is it a completely different life?
Yeah, I think it's actually better than I thought it would be. I think swimming is one of those where kind of could go and win an Olympic medal and maybe there's not really a lot else you can do, that one discipline to do. And actually in triathlon, different avenues you can go down. You've obviously got 3 sports, up a lot more, so many different races that you go and do. And there's lots of exciting things obviously coming into triathlon. League was a great addition. We've got the people happening at the moment with 5 races that are going to happen. So I think there's a lot more than I ever could have imagined as a young girl dreaming of being a kind of top athlete. So it's definitely better than I ever imagined. And as a 9-year-old, I was really never really envisioned having to work sport. So that's obviously tough. And there's times where they look super glad, but actually when you kind of that, all we're having to do day in day out get those wins, and they like it was effortless on the day, but I've done all the hard work already. It's definitely better than I can imagine. I absolutely love what I'm doing and doing with a better job.
It is fun, and the difference between, I know you're doing 10K and marathon swimming, but it's very much VO2 max type work when you're a marathon swimmer, where this is a lot, Ironman racing is done at a lot lower intensity. Do you miss that, I know it's only an hour of racing, but do you miss that intensity of that high-end swimming? And could we ever see you, I've got to ask this question, could we ever see you post 2 or 3 Ironman Hawaii victories pursuing an ITU career, going from long to short, which is, whenever you go long, they tell you it's a one-way ticket. But could we ever see you so young that a 30-year-old Lucy Charles Barkley could be pursuing a Paris Olympic berth? Is that something that could potentially happen?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't rule it out. I've been doing these Zwift races has made how much I love that hard, intense racing. And my training has quite a lot of high in it, which I guess maybe quite a long-distance athletes, but my swim background, I used to love that kind of training. And actually, when I made the national final for, say, the 800 or 100, I could still make the national final 50 freestyle. I definitely always had that. Obviously, the range is even bigger now with Olympic distance. But I do love that stuff, training and racing. So definitely wouldn't rule it out. I've got to kind of tick that box in Kona first. I just go off anywhere else.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, thank you. That was awesome. That was awesome. I saw my daughter come up going, sending you the love notes. You probably didn't see her. So I asked that question, darling, about swimming, but she wants to go to the Olympics as a butterflyer. And you're her idol, so I said I'd ask that question. But no, thanks for joining us. I know a lot of the Super League athletes, I know we've talked about it a lot on Super League, that of all the athletes that we wish would do the racing, someone like yourself just could light up Super League racing, because basically, if you look at the men's and women's race, the swim is so important, especially when you're having 2 or 3 swims, and the ability to swim when you're tired. So we'd love to have you as a part of one of our races one day. Fingers crossed.